Groceries are out of control right now. You don't need a chart to tell you something is off. You feel it every time you go to the grocery store. The numbers don't hit you all at once. They hit you one item at a time. You walk in planning to grab a few things, and within 5 minutes you're mentally adjusting. Maybe not the name brand cereal this time, maybe skip the organic produce, maybe cut the snacks altogether. It's not that you suddenly became a more responsible shopper. The money just doesn't stretch the way it used to. People used to think grocery inflation would taper off the way gas prices do. But groceries never went back down. Instead, you got a new baseline, higher prices locked in as the new normal. And that's the part that messes with you. It's not just that things got expensive, it's that they stayed expensive. Most people imagine grocery stores as passive middlemen, just reselling food at whatever price they get from suppliers. But modern grocery retail behaves more like a competitive strategy game. Nothing is neutral anymore, not even the shelves. Price, placement, promotion, brand visibility, these are negotiated. Manufacturers pay to win shelf battles. End caps aren't earned, they're bought. Discounts aren't generosity, they're tactics to move volume before quarter end. And you're the one walking through the battlefield with a cart. In 2025 and 2026, grocery pricing isn't just about food, it's about inputs, things the average shopper never sees. Energy prices, fertilizer, feed, packaging materials, freight costs, labor, store operations, insurance, even refrigeration. Every layer has margin, and none of them want to eat the increases. Manufacturers pass costs to distributors. Distributors pass costs to retailers. Retailers pass costs to you, and when one link raises prices, the others rarely lower theirs later. Once those increases stick, they're sticky for good. If you care about the real economy, not the headlines, hit subscribe and tap the bell. And leave a comment. I actually do read them. Another reason groceries feel out of control is consolidation. In many regions, you don't have 5 different grocery competitors. You barely have 2. When competition collapses, pricing power concentrates. And concentrated pricing power always wins against the shopper. In the past, grocery chains fought each other on price. Now they fight each other on data, loyalty, private labels, and real estate. Price is just one dimension of control. That little loyalty card isn't a reward program. It's a data pipeline. It tracks what you buy, how frequently, what brands you switch from, what price points make you flinch, and whether you trade down during promotions. That information feeds into pricing algorithms. This is why 2 people can buy the same item and pay different prices. Personalized discounting feels like a kindness. It's actually price discrimination at scale. Walk any grocery store and you'll notice something strange. The store looks like 3 different stores depending on how much money you make. Premium organic brands on top shelves, mid-range family brands at eye level, budget generics near the floor. Same building, 3 economic universes stacked vertically. And in the last 2 years, the mid-range collapsed. Households have been trading down to store brands and bulk staples. Meanwhile, the high-income segment defects to specialty stores and online delivery. That leaves the mid-tier brands fighting for a shrinking middle class. One of the dirtier secrets in grocery pricing is that not every price move is actually about affordability. Some of it is about managing the store's risk before inventory becomes a loss. When an item gets close to its expiration date, the store has 2 choices: take a total loss or offload it at a discount. That discount feels like generosity, but it's really a salvage operation. The markdown isn't a deal, it's a recovery strategy. You've seen it with produce that suddenly drops 50% in price, or meat that gets a bright sticker slapped on it for today only. It's not a coincidence, and it's not an act of kindness. It's the store clawing back margin before the shrink hits the books. They count on the fact that shoppers interpret red tags as bargains, not as the final stage of inventory triage. Then there are the items that are simply undesirable, products that didn't sell, flavors that failed, packaging that didn't land, seasonal goods that missed the timing. Those items get marked down not because the store wants to help you, but because dead inventory burns oxygen. When the shelf needs to turn over for new product, the old product needs to disappear. Stores will take razor-thin or even negative margins on those goods just to free up shelf real estate. But here's where it gets strategic. Undesirable items and expiring goods are often placed at the front of promotional aisles or at the entrance of the store. Not because the store expects to make money on them, but because they serve as bait. If you walk in thinking you just scored a deal, you're more likely to buy full-price staples deeper in the store. Retailers don't live or die on discounted muffins. They live and die on milk, eggs, breakfast cereal, and cleaning goods. The front-of-store discounts are the lure. The staples at the back of the store are the profit. Economists call this a loss leader, but it's really a traffic engine. The product that loses money isn't the business model. It's the on-ramp to the business model. Once you're inside, the game shifts. The store knows you came for the cheap bananas or the clearance meat, but it's betting that you're leaving with paper towels, ketchup, soda, chips, and maybe some impulse sweets stacked near the register. You lose track of that part because the clearance sticker gave you a small win. Price manipulation also comes in the form of psychological calibration. For example, the store wants you to believe a product has been reduced in price even when the original price never existed in any meaningful sense. Manufacturers set MSRP high so retailers can offer discounts that are actually normal pricing. The shopper thinks they're beating the game. In reality, the game is playing them. Another tactic is bait and switch. You walk in for the heavily advertised sale on chicken thighs, only to find the exact SKU out of stock. Suddenly, the only chicken left is the premium organic brand or the pre-seasoned convenience pack. The store doesn't mind running out of the advertised item. The margin on the alternative is richer anyway. The sale wasn't the product, the sale was the traffic. In some cases, the advertised item isn't even meant to sell. The retailer would prefer you never buy it. What they want is for you to see it, compare it, and then voluntarily choose the item that pays them more. That's why the cheapest version is often packaged in a way that discourages purchase. Dull colors, awkward sizing, tiny branding, or bad placement. It exists to validate your decision to move up the ladder. All of these tactics make grocery pricing look like it's about your benefit, when in reality it's about margin optimization under the disguise of deals. The store isn't trying to save you money. It's trying to save its own inventory from becoming a liability. The markdown is not a gift. It's a last resort. And the discount that pulls you through the door isn't the product. You are. In a normal economy, trade downs reverse when conditions improve. But in groceries, once you switch to store-brand pasta or generic cleaning wipes, you often never go back. Retailers know this, and they're quietly restructuring shelves around permanent downshifting. The result is a silent reshaping of the consumer market, not because tastes changed, but because affordability collapsed. Retailers don't lower prices for the same reason landlords don't lower rent. Once consumers demonstrate they're willing, or forced, to pay, margins harden. Investors expect them to stick. And if prices do come down, it's not where you expect. It's in quality, quantity, or formulation. Here's the part that matters. This isn't hopeless, but it requires changes at 3 levels. First, competition needs to be real again. When 2 chains dominate a region, they don't fight for you. They fight for margin. Second, supply chain transparency. If you understood how many steps sit between a farm and your table, and how many add margin, you'd see where reform would actually help. Third, collective behavior matters. When millions of households trade down at once, it forces manufacturers to compete again on price instead of brand prestige. So if groceries feel out of control right now, it's not in your head. The system changed, the incentives changed, the competition changed, and until the market stops rewarding high prices, nothing about your weekly bill changes either. But here's the twist. Once enough people adapt, the system adapts back, and when that happens, the story shifts. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for future videos.